So the people who say no handouts just lined up for a handout. Now tell me why farmers in Arkansas are standing outside with their hands out again, begging Uncle Sam for money.
I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love. 5 of my customers have committed.
That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made a decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
This is the first time in my life farming that I still have crop in my bins that I can't sell. Basically, what we're getting out of a bushel of corn or a bushel of rice would be like you making $5 an hour and trying to pay your bills at home. Mexico and China are the 2 biggest rice buyers for the United. They buy more rice off of us than anyone. And when they stop buying rice, we have nowhere to go with the rice. It won't be a trickle-down effect. It will be like flushing a toilet if the ag industry collapses. Totally 100% dependent upon the Lord Jesus Christ. I surrender it to Him.
See, when it's regular people struggling, rent too high, groceries too ridiculous, can't afford health care, the answer is always from these people: stop complaining, stop asking for handouts, and pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Farmers in Arkansas are crying out to the feds for stimulus money like it's open mic night. And look, I get it, because times are hard everywhere. But when you plant your crops, raise your cattle, take on the risks of farming, wasn't that a personal business decision? So why is it on me and you to make sure that that decision keeps paying out? Because see, when you and I make bad decisions, government doesn't cut us a check to make it right for us. Now, let's connect the dots here a little bit. These are the same people voting for the same politicians who say government is the problem. Yet as soon as the tractors stop running and their profits dry up, government magically turns into a solution for them. Ain't that funny and ironic? The question is, do we owe farmers any help? Or do they need to practice what they preach? Figure it out. Tighten that belt. Leave taxpayers out of it. Because last I checked, it's really not our problem to fix somebody else's gamble.
Arkansas, once again, this is not the first time I've mentioned this state in my videos. I think it's not even the second. It must be even 3 times or 4 times. And this year has been really crazy, especially to farmers in the United States of America. Well, today we have a very beautiful video with us, and just from the discussion that you've had, you already know where we're heading to with this topic. It seems like Arkansas farmers are having the F around and find out moment just because of what is happening to them. There is a lot to unpack. What I'm gonna urge you is to sit back and relax. Hey guys, my name is Danny and I'm gonna be the host for today's show. We're actually gonna unpack the reason why Arkansas farmers are crying and want help from the government. The same government that has limited some functionalities, especially in agriculture. They want this government to help them just because they voted them in. While other Americans react different, saying that they voted for this administration and now it's pressing them and they are not even seeing. Like, the delusional state they have is beyond recognition. Before I even come to my comprehensive commentary, I just want to shed light on something. Let's say whenever farmers have problem, of course the state is at a big problem. Well, in many societies, farming is usually the backbone of any economy, because without food production, then the economy is not healthy. Without food, basically human beings cannot survive. If farmers are not being taken care of, then there is a problem somewhere. But then again, you see what farmers are, and you see or you hear what farmers say, and you feel like there is some sort of entitlement. This entitlement makes taxpayers think about it like, why should we always come to your rescue? And when we reverse these roles, like let's say farmers get the aid, they plant their crops or make production of whatever they do, and then when it comes to selling, why do they set their prices so high? Why can they also reduce their price or subsidize their price to a point where these taxpayers who are to aid them in a situation like this, why can't they just lower prices so that these people can also afford food, especially when they are done with the production process? That's just what I want us to think going forward as we listen to more opinions. I mean, be open-minded. Let's continue.
I tell you what, if the federal government caves in and gives these whining white farmers in Arkansas and all over the country welfare checks that they are crying and begging for because they are dealing with the consequences of their vote, then I hope that the National Black Farmers Association gets together and files a class action lawsuit against the government, just like those white farmers did in 2021 in order to block stimulus aid to black farmers. They sure did. They filed a lawsuit in 2021, white farmers, including those in Arkansas, to bar the federal government from giving a $4 billion stimulus package to black farmers and farmers of color because they felt it was reverse discrimination and it was unconstitutional. Well, if the federal government turns around and gives them money, then yes, National Black Farmers Association, please get together and file the biggest lawsuit that you can against the federal government. I've tagged John Boyd, who is the founder of the National Black Farmers Association, in this video. You all please go follow him, learn more about the National Black Farmers Association and how you can help them fight for economic justice for our black farmers. Thanks, y'all.
So I saw that the soybean farmers in the state of Arkansas are having a find out phase. And you know what I hate to say? I told you so. No, seriously, I'm really sick and tired of the fact that the left keeps having to say, I told you so, because we didn't want anybody to suffer, okay? We voted for everybody to survive and thrive, and you voted for the suffering of other people, and here we are. You are actually the one who is paying the price and suffering, because you can't sell your soybeans to China because what's that? Tariffs. You can't get that new farming equipment that you needed because of why? Tariffs. Didn't the experts tell you that? Didn't people warn you this would happen? But no, you let your internalized hate, racism, and misogyny override literal facts that were right there in front of your face that made you vote against your own best interests. And here you are, expecting a government bailout yet again. You didn't want anybody else to get government bailouts. That's socialism, and you don't like that. So what makes you so different and so deserving when you voted against government money going to anybody who has stumbled upon a hard time? Why do you get it? What makes you better than other people? Again, I don't like that we are having to say, I told you so. Okay, I wanted you to do well. I wanted you to survive and thrive. But this is what you voted for.
So it looks like Arkansas farmers are in the find out phase of the fuck around and find out part.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Because farmers from all over the state of Arkansas came together to have a town hall meeting with some representatives from the government, explaining their struggles and what they might need to help them. And just as a friendly reminder, during the 2024 election, the state of Arkansas went 64.2% towards President Orange Man. But let's continue with the rest of this clip because it seems like one farmer might be having a realization as to what may be causing all of these issues.
For Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing: the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
Now, I'm actually glad he's making the correlation that it has something to do with the tariffs. But I've noticed a pattern when it comes to some of these people, when it comes to the tariffs, that they never make the connection or blame towards the person that actually caused these tariffs. And I'm gonna give him a major hint that it has to do with the person that won 64.2% of the vote in that state during the 2024 election. And this Arkansas farmer seems like he has a solution for this problem.
So, how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. No, I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke.
Yep, you heard that right. He's asking for a government handout, which is socialism, which he says he doesn't like them, but during these past years, there have been lots of subsidies and checks going out for farmers, including bailouts that happened during President Orange Man's first term. Because during his first term, financial aid to farmers was about $28 billion, costing more than Navy shipbuilding, the nuclear forces, NASA, and even children's health insurance. So yeah, you guys do love to receive bailouts and handouts. All the while, you guys tell other people who need financial aid, such as single mothers with kids who need food stamps, that they should pull themselves up by the bootstraps, but for some reason you guys don't like doing it yourselves.
Here we go again. Another round and find out moment. This one, Arkansas farmers. Yep, Arkansas farmers who voted overwhelmingly for President Trump. Well, here's a quote from one of those Arkansas farmers, and I'm going to do it in my best Arkansas accent. Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September is upon us. Harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China. Yeah, no shit. You voted for the tariff guy. And now Arkansas farmers want a handout. They want federal assistance. This poor ass red state that votes Republican every freaking year, they want a handout. You damn socialists. I guess you're finding out that racism sure is expansive, huh? Fucking dumbasses.
To all my farmer neighbors, you were warned over and over and over. We told you there was no drag queen story hour. There were no furries in our school using litter boxes. But you guys refused to call the superintendent of the schools like I did. I called Rolla Public Schools and asked Dr. Dare if there was any truth to that. He laughed and said maybe I was watching too much TV. We told you that China signed 20-year contracts with Brazil for soybeans. You laughed in our face. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I do not want to bail you out for the next 20 years, and I will fight against it. China signed 20-year contracts with Brazil for soybeans because of Donald J. Trump. They don't want our soybeans. They don't want our beef. They don't want our wheat. They don't want anything we grow. As far as we're concerned, China can stick it up our ass. And can you blame them? Can you really blame them?
So guys, if you've been listening keenly, it seems like the recurring theme in this video today is actually how people can identify the flaws in farmers' perception or opinions. And for instance, the double standards that the farmers hold. When previously other vulnerable communities or vulnerable groups of people in the United States of America received different form of aid, these farmers were obviously against. Like for instance, the guy who mentioned about single mothers, the ones who mentioned about the food stamps, Medicaid, and things like that. Some farmers were praised and they didn't like that idea, even to the extent of just voting in for a person who was going to eradicate this sort of AIDS. And they felt like at no point in their lives, maybe let's say unfortunate event like this would happen to them. The double standards in it, like right now they want help, like they are in desperate or dire need of help. They can't even seem to take accountability or responsibility of what they said before or what they perceived before, as if it comes to them, they're a bit special to the other groups and they are the ones who they feel like they are special in a way. Farmers in Arkansas are not different from farmers in other areas, like let's say Florida, Nebraska. These places are literally going bankrupt because of the choices they made. Just to be a little bit soft on these farmers, is I understand the issue of cost of living that has gone so high. This has also impacted farm inputs, for example, farm labor. There's the issue of seeds, fertilizer, equipment, fuel. All this just makes it difficult to conduct farming, or at the end of it, like after succeeding to produce crops, obviously it takes a toll even after harvesting. That does not mean that it's the end of the process, because now you have to take the food products to the market, or the food to the market, or also export them, sell it to other countries. And this is becoming a huge pain in the ass, especially when the previous markets have now diversified and have found different alternatives. Like Lady has mentioned about China going for Brazil in terms of soybeans, and leaving farmers in the US having no market at all, just having to see their harvest destroyed in the stores or whatever storage structures they have there. And it's so unfortunate. And this also all stems from the Trump tariffs that these very farmers cheered for. I really guess like these people are gonna learn their lesson, although if you listen to most of them, they're still delusional. Some even say that they're leaving this issue to God, of which I myself, I believe in God. And sometimes there are things that people try to relate to the religion in a way, and you feel like, nah, that is not it. Like there is no involvement of the supreme being in such a thing. And sometimes we just have to take accountability of or responsibility of the actions that we make. I don't know if these farmers are gonna do that. But hey, if you live in Arkansas, or if you're a farmer, you tell us more, man. Like, what is happening on the ground? What is the situation right now? Because most of you are complaining that the harvest that you made are literally destroying in the storage structures. Also, I remember there's a time there was a bad, I think it was, if it wasn't a storm, it was flooding, and this really impacted the farms. And according to Arkansas University, a research showed that approximately $78 million worth of crops were destroyed during that period. I think most of the farmers never had insurance, or insurance never covered that, and farmers had to incur losses. And this just contributes to the issue of bankruptcy that is gonna be experienced by these farmers. Arkansas, Florida, Nebraska, all these states. And it's the fact that some of the things that I believe it's okay. To be honest, it's not only the choices. There are some uncontrollable things, like let's say like floods, of course. But again, if bodies like FEMA were working 100%, if there were no cuts in those departments, things like floods could be controlled better. So I guess again, I'd say it's 75%, 85% of their choices that is impacting them in this whole issue. But I don't know how to view this thing, and I'm not sure how bankrupt these farms are going. Some articles say that at least 3 out of 5 farmers are going to be filing for bankruptcy by the end of the year. I don't know how true that is, but it's gonna be sad, even though like we are here to tell them that you are now in the find out phase, or you're finding out why you did not listen or why you voted for this administration. But again, remember, we are the consumers of these products that these farmers manufacture, so we have to be careful. The fact that we have to make them feel that they have to be accountable, we also have to take care of that, because most of us cannot go to farms and produce these products, or cannot afford to import, because obviously if you import something, prices are gonna double. If these people stop producing that thing like rice that I've said it's dropping by 40%, if this rice is imported from another nation, that means you're gonna pay double or even triple the price because of this this issue of tariffs. Remember, tariffs are gonna be paid by the states, by the United States citizens, and not where the rice is coming from. So we have to be really careful on how we handle this situation. But hey guys, I think that's my opinion. If there is something I've left behind, feel free to comment, because your thoughts or your opinions will be really insightful. Please don't be shy to share in the comment section down there below. If there are things you do not agree with me, please, I encourage you to disagree, but respectfully in the comment section. Also, don't forget to go and check the original creators. Their usernames have been embedded in the stitch videos as always, so go on to their TikToks, follow, like. Also invite you guys to subscribe to my membership, and also if you want to support the channel, the super thanks is always open. So if you drop something there, I really appreciate. It's really enjoyable making this type of content, but it's also hectic sometimes. A little bit of encouragement would really take me far. But hey, no worries. Make sure you smash a huge thumbs up button for this video. Consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on post notifications so that you may not miss my next upload. And with that guys, let me meet you in the next one. Dan is signing out. Peace.